This one's certainly not about to be any different, not after we saw them beat G2 8-7 here just a couple of weeks ago. We'll get into our bans first and foremost. First operators to go are going to be the Azami and the Monty, surprising no one.
Yeah, I think for Border, that makes perfect sense. We'll see the second bands come through before we kind of discuss all of them. But yeah, Mirror, Deimos, okay. So look, Border's a super small map. You're not going to see a lot of, I don't think you're likely to see a lot of like kind of your Ying bands, your Grim bands. You know, they have their place because they're just very powerful operators, but you're playing in a really small space. It's not about strategy. It's about creating space and winning gunfights. Monty, he's going to do just that. He's going to walk in. He's actually going to remove some of those gunfights from your team. Brilliant. Can just go in and bully operators and take space. Much the same as Azami. She's just going to dig in. She's going to use those cable barricades. She's going to resist that push coming through. She can get aggressive right up to the boundaries of the map. So it makes perfect sense to get rid of them. Mirror, of course, you know, again, you're looking at those short lines of sight that you're looking to hold, and Mirror can do such a job of doing exactly that. Deimos, there's a lot of verticality available on board. About 90% of the upstairs here, it can be impacted from below. So yeah, get rid of the Deimos. You don't want Shaiko. It's a definite target towards Shaiko as well. You don't want him running around underneath, tracking everything that he can and using that vendetta from below or above when you're downstairs. That's exactly what he's going to do. So yeah, all the bans, whilst common bans, make perfect sense.
I think you could run a stop well short of the Deimos chat there, and so you don't want Shaiko playing Deimos and ending the sentence there.
That's it.
That could have been enough. The man is a little bit of a demon when it comes around to running with an operator, so it does at least take away some of the lethality that he offers, but I think, as we all know, he can do it with basically any operator you give him. Anyway, let's get focused on the game. Let's get locked in. These Roteros from Shaiko are going to roll on through the map. Very common seal 4 of these being used. Let's chew your way through barbed wire, through bulletproofs, through shields that might impede you. And of course here, also looking in towards Goyo canisters and cancel barricades. Now, like this rush down. Screw you, Chanko, we're here to gun you down nice and early on, looking for just that. Got me mind for the man at range, and no, he can't quite finish him off in time. That's heartbreaking for Brede. Thought for sure that he'd find his man, but no, the cover was great. Skies finally finished off by leaking back, and it's all gone a bit aggy, Tim, around these stairs. We're only 60 seconds into the round.
Yeah, it's exactly what we expect out of Border, isn't it, realistically? Just throw everybody into the maelstrom and see who comes out of the other side. Well, it's not going to be Deadshot or Scars, both of those by the by now. Falcons finding themselves a little advantage, and Gen.G just trying to find a little bit of room to kind of hang on, but they're just being pressured and pushed by the attacking side of Falcons here. Rotero's going in, kills raining through. I don't think they're even going to bother picking up that diffuser, to be honest. They're just going to keep on going. The kill after kill, useless. Manages to pick up one. The castle barricade will not slow him down in the slightest. It's all up to Azox. Takes the swing. Cannot find his man. Shaiko shuts him down. Deimos ban. What does it even matter?
Just brutal, wasn't it, really, from Falcons there, giving absolutely nothing over towards the other side. Gen.G, fair play. I thought the defensive 90 along with the Chanka was really, really good. You know, being in a great spot to be able to deny away any kind of push with the Chanka. Problem was, he was a little bit late to the party. Brede was already up in his face. They might have got that one kill to start things out, but from there, Falcons just giving no mercy over to the other side and steamrolling their way through the rest of the round. So what I'm sure the Gen.G was pretty happy to want to forget. See what they can do going into round 2. Like I said, pressure here is just brilliant. Like, it's good to have Nako there on the support as well. But from that point onwards, it was just pretty miserable, let's be honest.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we're going to see, you know, the rest of the game necessarily continue at that sort of speed. It is Border, so who knows? But I think one thing we can count on is that Falcons will remain aggressive on the attack because, you know, we often talk about the attackers on this map. It's about getting inside of the map. That's where your fight's going to be. You're going to be fought at doors, windows, barricades, everything that they can. So once you're in and established, attackers tend to win more rounds than they lose once they've got that foothold, that little bit of a beachhead to build from. So Falcons will continue to be aggressive here, wanting to get inside and get themselves aggressively situated, locked in, and ready to use that utility. Just looking at how they're going to deal with this top floor. They've got Solotov to help with the clearance of the roamers and the extended hold that is up above. They've got Leaker, they've got Shaiko, both likely to be used for verticality. The Roteros might be used for a bit of barbed wire and a little bit of utility, maybe try and take out a bulletproof cam. There we go, barbed wire's going to go. But yeah, any spares will be used then for that vertical sort of soft destruction.
They know he's here at this moment, Tim, but once they do, he should be dead to rights. Nades to make him move, flashes to push him away. Doc could be cool to punish him. They've got all the things that they need here to make this happen, but it is, of course, a bit scattered off towards the other side of the map, so you don't want to commit too many resources trying to get control of that. But got to be careful here, Shaiko, that they are not going to get bitten off by him, not knowing it this side of there. There's the call that I was on about coming out. Every player you see getting that lovely red icon above their player card in the bottom right corner of your screen. They can hear it from a mile away, Tim. Should be no nasty surprises here to upset Falcons as we cross that 60-second mark into the round.
Leakerback, interestingly, still underneath at the moment. We see him moving his way back out of the map, but he's not going to join his teammates above just yet. And they are going to need him up there on the book. They've got the soft destruction of users with those soft breach charges, of course. They may well feel that that's enough if there's only a couple of angles that they want to open up. I guess they might get the job done for them. Beautiful shot from Solotov. He knew to expect Azok's in there behind the half wall. If he can move in now and get himself established inside of Armory, also going to get access to all those cams as well.
Yeah, another call Sawyer to come out. There we go. Second one of the round ringing on through as you get towards the 70-second mark. So the invitation they need to start their march on forward here. Flash up over the top. There's no one here inside the fountain. There is off just behind Shaiko, but he's moving forward at enough pace here. They won't be able to deal with him in time. Steps on forward, looking for the man off towards the wall office on his left. But at this point, still searching. 2 kills going the way of Gen.G. Almost got a little bit paralyzed there and didn't want to push further in towards Armory itself, and they paid the price for that, Tim. Not enough of a pinch on all sides has let 2 members of Gen.G get a kill and get away.
Yeah, they've taken full advantage of that situation there. Gen.G have just, and it's only a tiny amount, but they've been given some breathing space is the reality, and they've done what they have done with it fantastically well. Got themselves a couple of kills, retire back towards site. They're all in and around site now. Nobody up on the top floor. Control is Falcons, but there's only 20 seconds left to go, Des.
Is that really enough time to try and recover the round? I'm not too sure that it is, Tim. Not looking pretty. They'll try the very, very best making use of these light screens. But that diffuser's got to go down, which leaves you in a 2 versus 4 temporarily. The spray coming on through. They've got the vertical cover, so they've really tried to go for minimal control here. But they sorely need to win a gunfight or 2 to keep this one going. But no! The C4 from the window by the looks of it. Very well placed. Nets them the round. Much more convincing from Gen.G, but not quite enough teeth being shown by Falcons.
You could almost call it a little bit of an oversight, allowing the nitro through there. But there was just so much to cover. For the Dockerby there, you're trying to cover workshop, you're trying to cover the rotation, you're trying to cover bottom metal stairs, you've got to worry about the window. Like, there's so much going on there, and you could kind of see it in the frantic gameplay, just swinging angle to angle to angle, trying to create that little bit of safety for Breede. But ultimately, when you've got 4 different directions to watch, you know, the vertical play can only help so much. Realistically, they can only watch one angle. They can watch the rotation, that's it. Because you don't need to worry about the door because nobody's really coming in through there. So when it comes down to workshop, bottom metal and storage window, it's all up to Solotov in that situation. So very, very difficult for him. And like you say, Falcons, I think, just not really showing enough bite early in the round to give themselves time to have a realistic opportunity at putting that one down. So we will move on. Gen.G will take us back up to the top floor.
Attackers are moving to defuse the bomb.
They will indeed give that one another swing. Don't want to go to the offsite. Not going in towards bathroom towers. Instead, as you say, a repeat upstairs. And a small change in tack maybe coming out here. No shield coming through for the side of Falcons. Again, Breede doubling down, playing behind that sense. I wonder if we'll see it banned away in the next round, because we have seen them run it every single round so far. Be that or the Dockerby, by my measure, one of the 2 need to disappear, because although they haven't strictly been highly frustrating. You can see that it's part of the Falcons game plan on this map. You know me, Tim, I love seeing be taken away, especially from Falcons. I think as a team, they rely on those phone calls a lot to step forward and take map control and be so aggressive. It's what has largely enabled them in the past. I think you take that away from them, you're taking away a very, very significant tool that they use to make their plays around the map. So I think it's going to be a Dr. B, but we'll see, of course, after this round.
I think you'll probably get what you want, Des. I'd be surprised to not see
I want it, just what I expect.
Yeah, I mean, you do want it, Des. You're always tagging for a Dockerby ban. I think we probably will see it because, like you say, border. It's such a map of trying to hold specific positions, and having those calls ring out really do prevent at times you being able to do that.
Well, he's dead.
Manages to take. That's one way of dealing with it. Don't bother banning it. Just get the kill. 5 versus 4. Good entry for Gen.G.
Operator's too strong. Just kill it. Lol. Like, what are you worried about? It's a good entry to 5 for sure. Of course, it was Solitov getting the entry in the previous round, if you remember, looking towards main breach. Shot into Bazox was absolutely beautiful. Now we're trying to see a little bit of a scramble from Falcons to try and get any kind of control or aggression coming on through. Shaiko, the one dancing around 90 here. Just to get a little bit of a slowdown. Leaf had to lose his life for it. A little bit out of sync with each other there. Shaiko gets the trade at the very least, but he's lost his man on the downstairs here, and it only hurts his team because there's 3 of them. There's 4 of Gen.G. Gen.G will happily play for trades all round long because a little bit of quick maths, they get left with 1 and they walk away the winner.
1 minute left to go. Falcons have got to make a move. You said it in the last round. He kind of didn't have teeth. They weren't as aggressive as they were in the first. They didn't create the same sort of space. Users does pick up 1, but there's always an answer from Gen.G. At the minute they find the last, it's an easy pickup. Shots to the back will get the job done. And that is going to be Gen.G taking another round, 2-1 up. And look, I said it at the beginning of this, you know, sitting in second place in the table. Look, I'm sure every team would tell me that they fully expect to be the top of the table every single stage, you know, but in terms of reality, Gen.G, of course, you know, in stage 1 were lower down the table. They still had a good stage, don't get me wrong. And you did kind of feel like they were, you know, it's kind of best of the rest, if we call it that. You know, if we look at the newer teams that were coming into the league, and they really are showing that now. The development over the last few months has been fantastic. They sit 2-1 up against Falcons. They take the win here. They're top of the table. Clear top of the table.
And that's crazy when you think about the teams that we've been used to seeing at the top of our standings and being at our international tournaments, being at SI, for example. It definitely is a twist in the tail, but we love an underdog, Tim. And Gen.G may always be showing they can definitely punch their way up. Now, the ban coming out is the Blitz. And of course, I was saying I'd love to see a Dockerby ban come out. It's in the 3 rounds in a row now. They've shown over the last 2 rounds they can deal with it. It's not the end of the world for them. Yes, Falcons need to move on forward. But the only round that Falcons have won was off the back of Brede pushing in aggressively, creating a little bit of chaos and forcing Gen.G to be a little bit lost at the pace coming out of Falcons. So I quite like this is a way of slowing things down a little bit still. You will see other shields coming along, but not quite as fast as the Blitz. So they'll deal with the Blackbeard, I feel. They don't mind playing against the Dockerby. So smart ban coming out of Gen.G. On the other side, the Butte. Again, we spoke about it a little bit back on Consulate, but a similar story. It just helps you move so much more fluidly through the map that I don't blame them at all at wanting to take away that impediment.
Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
Let's get into, we'll call it the second quarter then, the ending of this half of Siege, 4-5-6. We'll see us continue that defensive rotation for Gen.G, Bathroom and Tellers this time around. So it's going to be more of holding on to the top floor. They were able to do it pretty well in round 2. Round 3, of course, was the top floor site. So a little bit of a different vibe for that one. But I just feel like Falcons maybe didn't quite commit enough to that top floor clearance last time around. You know, I commented on Leakafakers both being underneath. And I know that, you know, if you're attacking particularly into ventilation, which is where they were attacking that time, you need to control bottom metal. And, you know, I understand that there's other areas to the map, but I'd like to see Falcons really throw everything. Full dedication. Let's get top floor and let's work from there. It's a good start. Chaco picks up Nako.
And into a second as well. Much better as a starting things out here. Starting to get a bit of a march on. This again is one of those situations where I say it all the time. They're in a 5 versus 3. The chances of losing this round have just dropped drastically. Like, Gen.G can simply not cover every angle you're pushing in from. You can take constant 2v1s, 3v1s here and really make them scream. And I think with the Dockerby on side, you're certainly going to make that more likely. There's no excuse for losing this one. They've got to step in, though, and get and play as a team. Use the time available to you.
Flashbang.
Looking back, knowing that he could be swung, but He's just going to continue his focus onto Metal. The Tachanka feeling, gotta say, a little bit lost in the middle of sight there. What exactly do you do in that situation? Just kind of having to wait patiently for Falcons to make a move. Asa does manage to pick up Likafak as he's heading down those metal stairs. Tough start so far for Likafak. He's not really managed to get himself involved. A lot of his big performances that we've seen over the last few weeks have come on the defensive side of things. So it may be that we see a stronger second half from him. Time being, it's going to be Skies picking up users, and I was saying that Tachanka was feeling a little bit lost. Well, he feels like he's definitely found something as he manages to pick up 2 with the LMG.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but if you're Falcons here, you can't be letting this happen. What was it just saying? 5v3, still 100 seconds in the round to play. Like, this should be yours. They haven't killed a single one of those final 3 players. Fair play to Gen.G. They played that out brilliantly to close it. But Falcons should not let that happen. And I hear Jack standing by for a call in, Tim. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Hi guys, so I just wanted to talk about Dokkaebi, Des, because I heard you talk about the Dokkaebi. Actually, you might be interested to find out, no team this stage in EML has banned Dokkaebi against Falcons. And that's quite surprising, actually, because we listen to the team comms, and Falcons have quite clustered team comms, obviously with the French guys thinking and IGLing in English. Dokkaebi is like the unifying voice for them on their attacks. It's not going so well this game, of course, but it's an operator that they crutch on hard. Even in their bans in round 3, they banned away the mute, which helps Dokkaebi even more. So just a surprising one for me is that no teams have banned Dokkaebi against Falcons yet.
Completely agree with you as well, Jack. You know, I think we've seen it at tournaments a couple of times, Tim, as you were speaking about there, and we've seen it time and time again internationally. They lean on the Dokkaebi to make those pushes forward, as I mentioned. Pair it up with the Deimos, they're lethal. But when you kind of stuck between, well, do I ban away the Deimos or do I ban away the Dokkaebi, because you've got to ban away some other oppressive operators too. It's a bit of a rock and a hard place. You've got to enable them one way or the other. And so far, obviously the Dokkaebi isn't quite working the way that you'd expect. Maybe teams feeling they have an answer or know at least to expect to push forward from Falcons when that Dokkaebi's on side and the call comes through.
2 rounds to go then. We'll see how much sort of more use, more value maybe Solotov can squeeze out of the Dokkaebi. They can make Gen.G wish they'd ban that operator out rather than the Blitz. For the time being, we're going to go down to Ventilation and Workshop. Gen.G feel like they are pointed in the right direction at the minute, and they just need to keep on walking. Falcons really haven't had much say in the proceedings here after that first round, and it's kind of odd because the first round it was a bit of a bloodbath. I referred to it as a maelstrom at the time, and they just kind of washed their way through the map, taking one after another. It was just kind of watching Gen.G get washed away, brushed away by an imposing Falcons team, but they just haven't been able to find that same sort of energy since. Shaiko straight away towards top east.
Yeah, spot with their success back in round 1, and since then have really struggled to recover and fight their way back in. Not looking too good, but at least got the information they need at the top of here. I spoke about it before, but that slower burning operator of the Flores is going to start chewing his way through. Barbed wire to chew through yet. And of course, plenty of castle barricades to find. Already removed the first one here, impeding them at the top of white.
Matero drone just going to open the soft surface. That's going to give access into office. Guys, I think will just keep himself in this position, though. It's one of the older positions, maybe when I say newer to Siege, I'm talking even in the last couple of years necessarily. This is a position often referred to as sandwich. We have kind of ended up with a second sandwich call on board, which has made things a little bit confusing, but this is the kind of OG sandwich call, is in that office position between these 2 walls with a reinforcement like this. You used to get naded out from the dome, but it's not as easy to do anymore. It's very, very difficult. So it's actually a real power position. And while Skies is in there, it is really going to slow down this Falcons approach.
Yeah, got to think about a way around this. Typically, like you say, frags would be the answer, but you can flash him out, you can push on through. Of course, if there's a warden dug in there, it's a bit of a different conversation, but Azox is elsewhere. He's out towards lockers. He's nowhere near the conversation at this point. For now, Falcons looking like they're getting a bit hung up, though. Half the round has gone by, and yet to really make any significant progress. So, of course, let the Flores do what he needs to do, but they've actually got to start their push on board here. That march now begins. It's Asa falling down, a 5 versus 4, almost into a 5v3. Sky's going dangerously low, finally picked off here as well. As They almost connect to third, but no, not yet to go the way that it needs. Shaiko hits the deck here as well. It started out a 5v3 Tim, and slowly it's already starting to slip away here. We're down to a 3v3 as Gen.G, they put those walls up and they push back.
Yeah, and this is something that Gen.G have done fantastically well. You clear one of the power positions, but guess what? The second and third have got something to say about it. They've been fighting their way back in beautifully. Azot's just going to switch to the shotgun. Is he going to get this engagement at an angle that he wants? He's going to step around like you say. He doesn't know. It's a freebie onto users, and he drops away. Advantage gained and kept. Nitro goes out. Can't find its man. 2 versus 3. 25 seconds left to go, and Falcons are floundering again. They're trying to put the diffuser though down. I'm not sure that Gen.G can do anything about it.
Expect get a couple of kills, Tim. It's easy as pie. 2 for Deadshot in the round. Nako getting the man above, and Gen.G are going to be up 4-1. On the defensive border, Tim. Not often we get to say that. We've seen border be one of our more attacker-leaning maps globally. In fact, it is the most attacker-leaning map around the world. But as it stands, Gen.G are just not letting Falcons in. They look like they've got them all figured out, and they're up 4-1. That top spot of our league table ain't looking so far away.
No, it's really not, and I really like what we saw from Gen.G there. When that plant was going down, they made a conscious choice, I think, to say, we've got a 2v1, a 3v1 on the guy above. He's the only one, and I often talk about this, when there's 2 of you left, putting the diffuser down is a big risk because it leaves the other person in that 1vx for that 7 seconds whilst you're planting. And Gen.G timed it beautifully. We challenge him now, we push him now, we get the kill on the man covering, and then we worry about the Blackbeard afterwards. Then we worry about the planter afterwards. And it just worked out brilliantly for them.
Attackers are activating the diffuser.
It's wonderful stuff. And I was looking actually at the fixtures that we've got Gen.G stepping into across the next couple of days, and the 2 teams that featured now last game are who they have as their opponents. Fnatic, who we've seen struggle sometimes to finish out rounds, and Virtus Pro, who you just don't really know day to day what it is you're going to get from them. You'd quite fancy if they win this game and go top, that they could press on and win the next 2 and finish top of the EML stage. It all sounds absolutely bonkers that would be at that position, because again, coming into the stage, you never would have expected that from Gen.G, but here we are, and that's the reality that we face. Just 3 more rounds, and they're in a golden opportunity to get that done. Falcons reeling here and trying to find a way in. But as said, Gen.G are putting up them walls and pushing back hard. Love it.
Yeah, Falcons are scrambling, but just nothing's really working at the minute. And you look at it, it could be the scoreline's actually important as well. That's what I wanted to mention. You talk about, you know, possibly keeping hold of that top spot in the table. It's going to be G2 that could tie them up. G2 playing later on today, of course. They're both on 13 points coming in. But the round difference is only 3 rounds. So Gen.G are currently plus 12. G2 are currently plus 9. So a big win in terms of round difference here as well could be a massive help if they do want to lock in that top spot.
I love that aggression towards B-Day early on. Yes, it was mainly utility, but it's enough to deter them from rushing their way in towards East. It's pushing them out towards Break Door, where we've got Nako, the demon of EML at this point, stood ready and waiting. But he's going to round himself all the way off towards main breach here, trying not to make too much of a sound so we can get a bit of a side stab or a backstab onto this player inside of security. But for now, just waiting for that next call to come online from the Dokkaebi before they make their push forward.
You're just kind of looking at this and thinking, is it going to be the same situation again? Falcons have got the entry, they've got the advantage, but Solotov, low health, Breedade, low health, and everybody else on the side of Gen.G is a full complement of HP. You look at their positions, they're just digging in, they've got the top floor hold, they're there ready. And it's now just, you know, your turn, Falcons. 1:15 left to go. And you can just see it coming almost, you know, again, where Falcons go to push in the later round. And Solotov and Breedade go down quickly because of that low health. And it's 4 versus 3. And they're having to battle back. And you just wonder, is history repeating itself?
Well, get ready to battle, Tim, because that's exactly what's going to come down to get towards the last 60. Nako gets Shaiko for free, slips the net, and I don't think they're able to catch him out here as well. They know where he is because they can hear it ringing, but it's infuriating because they can do nothing about it. Here he is on East. A charge down to try and catch him out through the barbed wire. Here's him the whole way. Sky's shut down elsewhere, but Nako still dancing around. Every player on the side of Falcons starting to run low on HP, but it doesn't matter, Tim. They get the headshots they need. It's into a 4 versus 2.
Yes, a big loss for Gen.G there. They really needed to deal with those East stairs better. Toxic Babe canister comes out. It's going to slow things down. Everybody on Falcons is very low health. It's going to take very little. Asa manages to get one. The kills come in, but somehow Falcons are left standing. I think everybody died within about a second and a half there, Des. And Falcons just managed to sit atop that pile of bodies and get themselves a second round.
Ooh. To get 4-2. That's pretty good for Gen.G. I think they'd fancied themselves a 5-1, but for Falcons to get that one over the line gives them that little bit more breathing room now that they get to switch onto the defense. I'm really interested to see how Gen.G attacks. They were excellent on the defensive side. Barely gave room over to Falcons, except for in that first round. Otherwise, it was very much a dominant half by them. I want to see how they fare on the attacking side, if they can keep up that level of play, or if, like we so often see, teams just tend to drop away once you swap sides and can't quite get back to the same point.
4-2 it is. We swap across, and Gen.G just need to, I would say normally keep that momentum, but it's like I always say, if you're only going to win 1 or 2 rounds, make sure that one of them is round 6, and Falcons have been able to do exactly that. Moving on to the defense now, we're going to see, I think, aggression from them, stopping or trying to stop Gen.G, getting themselves established inside of the building. Not going to have this army to rely on, so I'll be interested to see just exactly how they play CCTV. Breeder is setting up mute jammers in there, so it would suggest somebody is going to be playing the half wall. I would guess that it's likely to be Shaiko on the Legion, using the goo mines to try and protect his entrances as well.
10 seconds left.
And we'll see how that plays out. I think we have had a request for a rehost, so we'll just get out and back in, and we'll get on with this one just as soon as we can do.
Yeah. Tim, it's a great chance to ask about the garden. You should do a big update for us. What's going on with the garden then,
Well,
Tim?
I don't want to leave people hanging longer than necessary, Des. Very exciting progress. So I've been working on the decking. That's been the big thing. I spoke about that last time we were on EML. It's quite a big area that I'm doing decking for. Now, I've never done any sort of woodwork or decking before, so this is my first time. I'm like figuring it out as I go. So the big frame. And when I say big frame, it's kind of 5.5 meters across by about 3.5 meters deep. So it's a big frame. There's a few angles in there that take a couple of chunks out of it. But yeah, really, it took 4 of us. We lifted it back into position because I'd had it out because I needed to work on the sides of it because I couldn't because of the fence line and yada yada. So it's gone back into position. I've put the posts in the ground. The holes were already dug. I hated that bit, but the posts went in. They were concreted. So because what you do, you put them in and you just screw them with small screws to the frame itself in an upright. You get them leveled, vertically level. If that's the right, is it plumb or is it? I think it might be plumb. But either way, you get them straightened up. You get them screwed in to hold them in position, and then you concrete them so they set and they're in the right position. So I did that. Frame is all bolted onto them, so the frame is now in and secure. And today I've been working on a handrail, so I'm putting a little handrail across the front just for a little bit of safety. It's not overly high, but I don't want anybody taking a tumble. And yeah, I'm going to be building a step next and putting a couple of other bits of decking frame in. So we are racing along now, Des. Those decking boards are going to be going down, quicker than Falcons were in some of those rounds.
Love that. When do you expect it's done and finished by, mate? Because I know we're getting in towards winter territory now. It's about to become October.
I'm really hopeful that it's going to be in time for winter so I can enjoy some of the weather out there on the decking. It was supposed to be done a couple of months ago. So it's just a difficult one. Life gets in the way. I was ill the other week, and that it was really frustrating because as soon as I was unwell and I was like too unwell to work on the thing, it had been raining all the week before. September has been an incredibly wet month where I live up in the north of England. So as soon as I was unwell and couldn't do anything for 2 or 3 days, the sun came out and it was beautiful weather and I could have made a ton of progress, but I wasn't able to. And then on other sunny days, I've been working and it's been a bit of a nightmare. But like today, I was on it from 9 this morning till 3 this afternoon when I started EML tonight. We've had sun, we've got sun tomorrow, so I'm going to be doing the same. We are racing along. I honestly think the bits that I've got the frames built for at the minute, I'm not really including putting the decking boards on because that should only take me a couple of hours to do that. Really, it's not a big job. So getting the frames in, concreted, secured, bolted on, and then building the other 2 frames. I think maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks if I can get some.
Oh, that ain't too bad.
It's not too
middle of
bad.
October, decent time.
Yeah.
You might get a lick of sun before it then starts raining and destroys all your hard work, but at least you get something.
Well, I'm going to sort out some sort of heating out there, whether that be actual, natural fire, like a fire pit or something, or whether it's a patio heater. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I'm going to sort some heating out there. We're going to get some like heavy blankets that, if you've ever been to eat at a restaurant that's got outside seating in winter, especially around England and the north of England, it's common. They'll have like a little space heater, and then they'll give you a little blanket that you can like wrap around your shoulders and stuff. So we'll go with that kind of vibe, and we'll get a bit of use out of it. We'll get a bit of use, but the pumpkins will be going in as well. I think I'm going to put some pumpkins in just around Halloween time. I think you can plant them then, and they should come in for next year then, and we'll be ready to do some carving.
That'd be delicious, mate. Wonderful.
What?
I love how you're building your garden up, and I did mine 6 months ago, and I'm now about to start raising it. Like, I've got some glyphosate in because I cannot stress how often I've tried to get rid of these weeds. We've got horsetail growing up on the upper banks, and the problem is the soil that sits under these banks is probably like 2 or 3 meters deep, and because our neighbors like 2 or 3 doors down have also got this horsetail coming up, I just know we've all got the same problem where it's probably coming from the same bulb in someone's garden somewhere that is going to be impossible to kill. So the best you can do is like cut it back and try and keep it basically suppressed over a number of years so it becomes more manageable rather than a constant war, because horsetail is really unique where it's got like a very silicon texture to it. It's very resistant to chemicals. So you can't just spray it and hope that it dies. You have to like cut it off at the stem at a certain point between the nodes and then spray that a little bit. Maybe it goes down in the root. Maybe you suppress it for a while, but it will come back regardless. It's an absolute nuisance. And I've had guys round who have like pulled all our stones up. They've relayed all the weed matting. They've obviously killed it all before they've done that and sprayed it all down again. It hasn't worked still. So now I'm like, clearly I, with very limited garden experience, are going to be able to do this better than they can.
Oh, you got to get in on it.
But I've got a sprayer coming. I've got my proper like, industrial level stuff to kill these weeds off, and we'll go into war before the winter sets in to try and kill these off proper. I'm gonna see how we do.
I tell you what, I got myself I love how this just descends into such an old man conversation. But I got a sprayer. I assume one of the like pressurized bottles where you like pump the top of it. Yeah. Oh, what a piece of kit, Des. What a piece of kit. Absolutely. So I got it to do the when I was cleaning my patio up. So because my patio had been it'd been left a little bit, not being cared for properly by me, and it had some black spot mold on it. Basically, you have standing water, it'll like over time it kind of develops like a licheny black spot mold on the surface of the flag. So I got some cleaner, and it's come up a treat. Let me tell you, it's absolutely beautiful. All Indian sandstone. It is beautiful colours, all oranges and reds, and absolutely beautiful stuff. But so I got myself a little pump action spray bottle to like spray this cleaner down on the flags. Oh, honestly, I was out there every opportunity I got. I was like, I'll just give it another do over there. Like, absolutely loving life.
I can just imagine you missus waking up at 4 o'clock and be like, oh, Tim's not in bed. Where's he gone?
Just need another treatment.
Goes downstairs, looking around for, and there's you in the corner. Just one more treatment. And you're there just pumping and spraying and all the rest of it. But I'm with you. I've actually already got a spray. I've got one of those spray bottles on the way for the garden. So I've got one for my car because, snow foam washes. Honestly, it might just be the most satisfying thing in the world. It's better than sex. You can spray your car down. It comes out like a beautiful shampoo. Yeah, I said that line on broadcast. Sue me. And it just makes your car look beautifully clean after. I absolutely loved it. But I was like, I can't risk spraying weed killer on my car.
No. You don't need that cross-contamination.
So I've had to get a separate one. And I've already got some labels to slap over them. So if anyone dares use one, someone comes around to help up the garden and wants to go a little bit of glyphosate spraying down, all the rest of it, they do not use the wrong one. I was already livid the other day, bless her heart and soul. I was away on holiday a few weeks ago in Italy. My mom came around to look after my cats. So while we were away, she's been helping us plant stuff in the garden because she loves flowers and said, you choose what you think looks nice, go for it. And the stuff that I use to wash my car is I could build a shrine for it. It is that sacred to me. You can't get dirt on it. You can't put tools in it. And I come back and she's put muddy gloves and a trowel inside these buckets. I nearly rang her and went mental at her. I was like, Mom, what are you doing? But it turned out it was okay. It wasn't that dirty. I managed to clean it out. The car didn't get scratched when I watched it yesterday. I was like, thank God for that. But like I said, we just cannot mix spray bottles. It is not allowed. It should be illegal. It's not allowed.
See, I'm with. I love those little things where like it means so much more to you than anybody else.
And they're like, it's just a bucket. It's not just a bucket. It's not just a bucket. 20 quid for that. That's to drive to the next town over to find the yellow one that I wanted.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. I'll tell you what else I love. I love Siege, and I love that we're back into this one. We're going back to border. It's 4-2 Gen.G. Do not adjust your sets or whatever it is that you're watching on. You are seeing it correctly. Gen.G came out with this solid defensive half. Picked up a 4-2, and Falcons are, I won't say languishing, they're not quite there yet, but they have struggled to keep pace in a lot of those rounds. So, Gen.G, how are you going to do on the attack? That is the question on everybody's lips right now.
Yeah, it's the big question I have to them all the time. 2 halves to a game of Siege. A team can play well in the first half and be absolutely torrid going into the second. So I really want to see Gen.G put up a good attack in the half here and show us what they can do. And they're not wasting any time in what they're bringing out to him. This operator lineup, I'm already being sick thinking about what it could achieve. With the sense, of course, to block off a lot of vision, the glass to capitalize any smoke that goes down, a blitz to rush your face off, and all the utility that comes with the Capita in the back pocket as well. Vertical damage coming down the block. You can very clearly see what it is they're looking for here in terms of an execute. It's on Falcons to read that and stop it.
Yeah, it screams Archive Store plan. With the addition of the Sense, it would have been a Ying once upon a day, but instead we're going with the Sense. You put the glass on the window, Archive's window, put the Capitao on Sandwich Repel, put in some flames, send in the shield to do the plant on the door. All these sorts of things are likely to go off. Deadshot can't move away now that he's done that initial Sense gadgetry. I thought he was just going to get peeked out of that door for a second there. And I think he knows that it might just come to that as well. I think an impact nade just gets dumped on that. It was users out there just trying to take away some of that light screen's functionality. They've definitely dipped away from this. I think the call here has been made from Gen.G that Archive's door plant ain't on. We're going to have to go for some clearance.
Yeah, it's interesting when you bring a lineup like this as well, because obviously this lineup is specialized in executing. It's not really there for a clear. It's not its job. Maybe a blitz can get away with it. You might even just try and make a play happen here. So we've kind of pulled away, as you say, and then still sent the glass in to try and cause a spot of bother. Deadshot going down to half HP is certainly not ideal, and it feels like they're trying to piecemeal together an attack here, Tim. I'm not sure I like it, but they're going to try and make it work.
Looking to get aggressive now, and the plant does come out on the door. The Nitro gets the glass, but not the planter. They could stick this here, but in a 1v5, there's absolutely no chance. He's going to try and get any kills that he can. Breeder swings around and gets the kill. That'll be a flawless round for Falcons, and I'll tell you what, never truer. And there is 2 halves in a game of Siege. Falcons come out, look like a completely reinvigorated, different team now that they're on the defense. Super solid. They get themselves back within 1, and to be honest, with the way that it's gone so far, it feels like a little bit of a steal for Falcons. They can kind of count themselves lucky they're not further out of this one, but they look really good that round.
Yeah, 5-1 I think would have felt like the justified score for the first half to Gen.G, and Falcons have got a real opportunity taking the 2 that they have now back in striking distance. They're only around behind Gen.G, and with a defense like that, you might look at it and go, oh, well, they managed to get the diffuser down, so therefore the defense wasn't that good. It was a retake setup they had. They denied it a little bit with the C4, got rid of the glass, waited for all this utility to get dumped in, and once it had expired, we were just ready from that point forward. It was really, really well played by Falcons overall. Dealt with it supremely well. A real team effort, as the boys are showing there towards the end of the round. And I agree with you, Naquo. Certainly not what we wanted from the first round of the attack, but good thing you got a few more attempts to go yet before Falcons are in position to be able to actually win and close out the game. Still 4-3. We're going to find ourselves going down to Vents and Workshop here in our second round of the half.
Going to be a top floor hold from Falcons. We can see that already. We've got Solotov on the Legion out in CCTV. Users is opening up the verticals from above with that shotgun of the smoke. So lots of work for Gen.G to be doing. We do have the Dokkaebi on the side. Neko is going to be bringing that along, so that will at least assist a little bit in possibly moving a few players around, but it's kind of one of them on border. It's a funny one because you know the extension and the roam is going to be there. You know where the players are likely to be positioned and to play. So there is a world where they can kind of just ignore it. There's a mute on side as well. Those calls come in. Oh, there's somebody half wall. Right, great. I don't need to switch my phone off. You know I'm half wall anyway. They can just kind of sit there.
You can. Well, for now, it's about trying to step on forward and see what they can make do with it. First phone call coming online as that march forward begins. Claymores being down, as you just saw a second ago, along with the gridlock, they're showing they don't want to get themselves bit off and stewed out here by the other side. Really should have Deadshot dead to rights here. They got rid of Ace at the very least. Solotov has fallen for the pleasure as well. So a 4 versus 4, not too bad. And the C4 from below as Breede strikes. Deadshot gone and offline. Falcons certainly showing Gen.G this ain't going to be a walk in the park. And Shiko gets another. This one already looks to be going the way of Falcons, Tim, and that will bring us all square at 4 apiece.
Yeah, this has become a very different game in the last couple of rounds, hasn't it? We spoke about the possibility of Gen.G even taking the top spot in the table, and Falcons have decided that it's definitely time to fight back. They're having absolutely none of it. Their top spot has got their name all over it. Shiko is just going to wait for the push to come on to break door here. Azok's thinking better of it, and on the gridlock being that 1 speed, of course. Plenty of noises made on those approaches, so probably a good idea. Neko is going to grab the cams for his team, and Azox manages to grab a kill. User's taken down. That's the smoke gone as well. 3 versus 2, and hold your breath on Falcons winning this. There's plenty of siege to be played in this round yet.
There is, but I don't think, air quotes, they can pull off a 2 versus 3. It would be very unlike Falcons to let that happen. Yes, on the other side of things on the attack, we saw them lose out of 5v3 catastrophically. Should not be happening. But surely here on the defensive side, you don't let the same go through. Only thing that you probably look at really is there's no C4s. They do have the Solus and 90 plant that might be going on down. As soon as Azox is holding down that plant button, Tim, it's a 1 versus 3 from that point forward, unless of course he pulls off there, which is Falcons make it very hard to do. So they've got the verticals, but now we've got to actually see that diffuser starting to hit the ground, boys. And like I say, good luck when you're in that 1 versus 3.
Yeah, they really don't want to leave this too long, and Azox, he knows that. He's going to drop the nade in and look to follow it himself. Second one goes out. He knows he's got a bit of space here. Naquo gets one. They have to push forward and get caught out by the nade. They could start putting this down, but they know where Breede is coming from. Yes, they do. But Breede knows where the challenge is as well. He's got one fight that he needs to win. He hits Naquo, but he can't manage to find the kill. It's Naquo who picks up a headshot, and Gen.G with an unlikely win on the attack.
Yeah, 2 versus 3, and again, neither of the boys die. That's another big man advantage situation where Falcons have had the advantage and have let the round slip away. Gen.G playing these situations incredibly well and taking away a couple of rounds here that on any other day of the week, when the Falcons, I think, are at their absolute prime, they wouldn't be finding. But all that matters, Tim, is this game now, and Gen.G are up 5-3. Beautiful stuff.
Just see that kill coming in. That was beautiful. Was that one from Azox onto the nade as well? I'd love to see what happened with that. Of course, Azox put a couple of nades out just to try and kind of guarantee his space. Didn't expect to be pushed, so started putting the diffuser down. I don't know whether it was just maybe bad timing that Falcons move, you know, into the blast radius, or whether they felt that they had to chat. You know, I don't know what it is there, but the diffuser's going down, but losing your life ain't going to stop it. You know, that's the moment to back off, really, and they didn't. So that bit of momentum that Falcons had been building up quite nicely there has just been again dashed against the walls of border. Gen.G take a round and can now start looking for that guaranteed overtime.
Absolutely, and again, it mightn't be enough to start pushing them up towards that top of the table. They get a couple more rounds over the line, and they are there. Gen.G would be your #1 team in the region, at least for now. Of course, still got G2 to play yet today. And if they get a good round performance, I think it will come down to rounding between the two. There's currently a +3 in favor of Gen.G, so you'd have to see G2 really put up a big score if they wanted to jump over them at this point. We'll see how things progress from here. Could still yet be a game that goes in towards OT, of course.
Azox has got himself established quite quickly inside of Customs, knows that there's one playing on the hatch. It's one of those moments where you just feel, take the shot, take the chance, and you might just be surprised at what you get. Knows that he's now moved out of position, so will instead get onto the drones, try and support his team. Knows that the way ahead immediately, at least, looks clear, but he is absolutely waiting. You know, he's desperate for the kill onto this player inside of CCTV. It's Solotov that he's looking for. He's hoping for a hatch drop or something to come through, I think, so that he can cut him off. But at the minute, Solotov is wasting time quite
and Azox is now dead as well. Leak Fat's gone and found him out and dealt with that one, no problem. Even with the Dockerby call coming out, it's worth stressing. Bit of a freebie to come on through. In fact, maybe even got that one at range. I think he came his way back up towards these stairs, didn't he? And paid the price up there. Shaco being taken out for free by Sky. He's no longer aware of his presence. Got one pin here on these stairs at the same time, but being rounded onto. That's a freebie. Caught reloading. Caught with his pants down. 4v2 now for Falcons. Surely, Tim, the kind of round they don't lose.
Yeah, you would expect so. We can see that call coming on in again, but it just hasn't proved effective or disruptive to Falcons whatsoever. Naquad does manage, however, to get some value out of it. Picks up the kill onto Solotov, and that's the Solis taken down as well. So a little bit less intel for the side of Falcons. It might give Gen.G a little bit of something to work on. 50 seconds left to go.
How much can they do with the information they've got here from the Bulletproof and the remaining Vault cams? As you say, there is enough time to work with. Running to find a kill though. Oh, apparently they knew. In fact, they do know Tim. As Juicy's down to about 20 HP. Bit of a nasty surprise from Death on above. They've got to make this happen. I don't think quite thing dropping in through a hatch this time around is going to work out the same way that it did the previous round. Not on this side at the very least. They surely need to get a kill from somewhere to leave that player who's still stood up on 2 feet in a 1 versus 2 as the plant is going on down. A few shots in towards Naples. He has now dropped himself inside. Finds one on the deck, and it's used to fall. The 2K in the round. Got to still get rid of these last two, though, Tim. Offie rounds here towards the side. The flash over the top, trying to find his man, but no. Brought down by his man off towards the right. Acer with it all to do, and he ain't going to get away with it. Liquefact seeing him through the smoke first. Gets the kill, and Falcons keeping pace here. But you can just feel that Gen.G have got it in them to pull ahead again.
Yeah, Liquefact was in great position there. Managed to get himself to the bottom of these stairs and coming through waiting. Just something that Gen.G were not prepared for. They were focused for the fight to get onto site, and it was the flank that they should have been worried about all along. So those bans come in. This time we spoke about the 4th round Dockerby ban last time out. It was something that Falcons didn't suffer. It was something that Gen.G chose not to take up, but this time Falcons say, no, we've had quite enough of those phone calls. There goes the Dockerby, and in comes the tactical timeout for Gen.G. They know that they only need 2 rounds to lock in a full 3 points in the top spot, and they're trying to secure that.
Absolutely. More breathing room, just not to run too far away. But it's looking good for them so far. And just a reminder us as well, Tim, of course, we're in Super Week. Other games coming up today for those that are curious. Next is the big one, BDS versus G2. Long ago would have been one of those games you look at and just go, wow. Like, crazy close game, but BDS obviously a little bit below where G2 are at the minute, but you never know what kind of surprise we could walk into. Then we have Wolves versus Wild before we close on Secret versus Matchco. So still some big games to come today, and this is only the 2nd of 5, so much more Siege to come.
Much more Siege indeed. Talking of which, we will get back into much more Siege here. Falcons fighting to give us an extra 3 rounds in this one. You've just... I blame the desk for bringing up the average length of games within each region, and ours being 11.4. But you just get the feeling that all of the games today are going to be long. They're going to be going the distance. We're going to be seeing 12 rounds out of them. And we're not too far away from that being the case here. 1 more round for Falcons and we will at least see everything in regulation. And given that they've gone now to Armory and Archives again, you've got to say it looks like it's definitely possible. Last time it was about trying to brute force a blitz plant onto that Archives door. Falcons had read into it well. It wasn't something that Gen.G even got kind of close to, really. Given the lineup has changed significantly, don't think we'll be seeing that from them again this time. Whether it might still be an Archive side push, but I don't think it'll be the attempt at getting in through the door.
No, most likely not. See a bit of a transformation, as you mentioned. See how it builds up again. I think if I could play worth touching on here as well, because there's been a bit of debate around Solus, and so you got nerfed quite heavily a while ago now. You know, many thought you wouldn't see it for a good long time, and maybe there were extra buffs to come through at some point to make him more viable again that required a large rework. We just didn't see it being played overall. Whereas Liquefact and a couple of other players, I think, have still popularized playing this operator a lot, Tim. Don't need the Solus though to get an easy kill like that. That's a little bit lazy from Deadshot. Has paid the price there. No intel inside of the map itself. Just let Shaco get a freebie and disappear into the halls of border.
Yeah, that was great from Shaco. So Deadshot went to shoot out the destructible ingredient, the pipe just inside the door of East Stairs. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. You're preparing yourself for an entry point later in the game that you might need to use. Shaco stood on balcony window, hears the shots go off, knows exactly what's happening, predicts that that's going to be the location position and hits an absolute worldie onto him. Shako does manage to get another before being taken down. 4 versus 3. Brede also bites the dust. 3 versus 3. Deko taking a ton of damage though. He is a breath away from death, so needs to be very, very cautious.
Renting toxin.
He does. A bullet to his name. Same as Solotov, to be fair. So all things equal here with half a round still to go. A lot of utility in the back pocket of Gen.G though, Tim. I'd love to see him get used to some of this. Of course, you can isolate out a couple of these players. Got to be mindful of users and those specs that he can don to deal with the smokes that come out of the Capitao and the Blitz. But outside of that, not too much that can impede them. Of course, C4 also want to be mindful of. But they can afford to pause for a second, reassess what the game plan is, and looks to be for now walking their way up towards office with just that game plan. 1 at the bottom of 90, and Skies has got his number. Leaky Fact trying to catch him by surprise. Instead, he's the one losing his life. Onwards we march. A 2 versus 3 for Falcons to hold on.
Yeah, the Blitz is the real problem at the minute. Users has got a Nitro in pocket, and that's going to be utility that could make or break this round, because we know that the fights are going to be very difficult. Solotov needs to be careful. If he comes face to face with that Blitz, you just know that Azox will take the risk of dropping that shield, and it's only going to take 1 bullet for Solotov to find himself no more for this world. The push is going to come through that west side by the looks of it. It's not going to be a breach. It's going to be in through the door. Need to be careful that they don't give the Blitz away. Users does get 1, but Solotov is taken out by just the tiniest bit of the Capitao fire. Users hold on. He does still have the Nitro.
Yeah, if he gets rid of 1 and forces out the 1v1, this is perfectly winnable, but he's got to win it, Tim. The Blitz sees him first, is in trouble. Knows that the plan's going down, but the Capitao, Skies, Leaky Fact on 90, finds the last man as well while the plant was going down. Wonderful round from him. Gen.G up to match point, Tim.
It's a difficult angle to find, but I look at that and I think, is there a way users can throw that from kind of behind that little, it's not a half wall, but that half screen that is behind? Instead, he chooses to move himself out towards lockers, and it's a really easy pick up for Skies. You know, he's in cover. Does he need to expose himself? I'm not sure if he can thread the needle from that point. There you go, you see, he just moves out with Nitro in hand, not even really ready for the fight. It's a difficult throw, I'm sure, to get it over the top of lockers, but would have been the safer option. However, that is all done and dusted. Gen.G get themselves guaranteed overtime, guaranteed 1 point, but you know that ain't going to be enough for them. They've got 2 chances, 2 bites at the cherry to try and take this one down. Full 3 points, top of the table. It's all lead waiting for them there, Des. They've just got to claim it.
They have. Surely they'll drop a couple of rounds now. They've looked so good throughout the game.
10 seconds remaining.
Like I said at the end of the previous round, have generally looked a little bit on top of things and feels like they could be the ones to push on to a win, and now they have that golden opportunity. Vents and Workshop going to be Falcons' potential last stand here on border. Gen.G walk away and close things out for the second game of the day. Let's see how things go here and how they play out again. Shike on the alibi once more. Trying to be nice and aggressive onto those windows around waiting area early on previously. I don't think he'll get away with the same thing again, truthfully. I'm pretty sure Gen.G will be a little more mindful of the antics that we've seen the Frenchman trying to pull off.
Chaco is in the same position that we saw previously for him, inside of break room. I think he might find himself with the shield in his face this time. But are they aware of Chaco creeping his way around? I think, yes, they have seen him. Azox is not going to look to immediately take the fight. He's going to dip himself away. Skies manages to pick up Chaco, and that's a good start. That gives a little bit of freedom for the Blitz now. They've got CCTV. Deadshot picks up Solotov. This could be going the way nobody really expected, Des.
No, and he's dropped the hatch as well. He's managed to at least keep himself alive here, but those 2 kills... This is a reverse situation we saw back in that first half. Remember, a 5v3 the Falcons couldn't convert. This time around, it's 5v3 to Gen.G. We'll see if they can do what Falcons could not and get this 2-man advantage over the line. They lose 1. Leaky back, getting rid of Skies for free. We're praised a lot after the previous round. Yeah, not quite so lucky. 4v3.
Falcons just digging the heels in, but are they going to be able to dig them in deep enough? Because Gen.G have been pushing so hard throughout this game. You feel like they really came in with a game plan, but that wasn't it. Users gets away with just sliding getting on in through the door. Picks up an absolute beauty onto Naquo. We find ourselves now 3 versus 3. A minute 15 left to go. Gen.G maybe just need to take the foot off the gas a little bit here. They've got the blitz inside of sight, but maybe it's time to just have a little look and see what's ahead of you before you push into it.
Top metal as well. There's a freebie waiting here. Unless the read is there for Deadshot. The read was there, but doesn't find his man. Obviously, didn't know he's still lurking around. I don't think they even know they've got a player still sat upstairs here. Use is still tucked in. They know that he got the kill earlier on, but they've already dropped it towards sight here. So they put all their focus on this execute. They could be paying the price, and there he is. He's got rid of Deadshot as well. Turns out Gen.G can bottom as well, Tim. This was a 5v3. They have yet to kill a single one of those remaining 3 players. And tries Azok's mate. That C4's going to find him. A great defense by those remaining 3 players on Falcons. They keep the game going. 5-6. And only one round away from guaranteeing overtime.
Trying to catch the Nitro with your shield is probably not the play there. Azok's finding that out to his detriment. And like you said, the complete and utter failure to deal with users up on that top floor is what has really cost them there. Users has hurt them multiple times throughout that round. That was the first. And then the second was, of course, the kill that he got from above. Frida we just see closing out the round with the Nitro there. But like you said, that core 3 that kind of survived in that 3 versus 5 have just played that absolutely beautifully. They keep Falcons fighting for another round. We continue on to 12 once again. We will have at least every round of regulation, and this one is going to be decided. Will it be 3 points and top of the table for Gen.G, or will it be a few more rounds of overtime as Falcons dig something out of the depths of despair that they seem to have encountered at times on this border? With Bathroom and Tellers to decide.
Real battle to see how it closes out. Just don't know which way to call it, but we're going to find out one way or another, Tim. You see how things close here in the final round. I think being brought along, interested by Naquo. I haven't seen too much of the Thinker. I remember speaking to someone a few weeks ago about this. You know, but Thinker obviously was really popular for a long time. Still got the nades. Still obviously a decent global team buff. Like, why the drop away? And it's more just, you know, there are other options here that can bring along nades. Like, why would you want to run something else when you can run something like a Deimos, for example, and do a little bit of work there? Why would you bring a Thinker? And it's more the case of still good. There's others that are better for the job, but we have seen the occasional team bring her along. Very good for those executes when you go pushing on through. It doesn't sound like a whole lot giving you that little bit of extra health, but I think as we've all seen the difference ourselves when playing sometimes, a few points of health can make all the difference. And that's what they're riding on.
Especially to players like this that can squeeze every drop of value out of every P that they've got left to their name. In goes the Blitz. Looking to take ground. I like the way that they've used the Blitz. They've used Azok aggressively to create space, to move in behind him, but it's not going to work out as Shako takes down Deadshot. That's your sledge gone. That's not ideal. That's a lot of verticality left. Asa just became way more important. His stocks have just gone through the roof as he needs to keep those soft breach charges available.
Absolutely a kill for Skies. Again, he's becoming Mr. Consistent since we've had that rehost, Tim. Up to 7 kills now. It's only 4 versus 4, so it's not like it's going to drag the round over the line for them. We've got about half the round still to play, mind you. So at this point, it feels like any kill is a good one. And to get rid of the smokes now, that feels crucial because you won't be able to stop this Blitz just charging you down unless you get a very well-placed C4.
You can just hear the breaching continuing ahead of them. 1 minute 24. There's absolutely tons of time here left available. They really don't need to rush this. Users does pick up Asa. Is he going to be the one again? We saw it in the last round, how he was able to just be a constant thorn in the side of the attackers, and Users continues on that same trend with the Tubarão. Solotov is going to take a little bit of damage there, but it's Users again who gets aggressive, puts the DMR to work, gets another kill, and it looks like we're going to get treated to a few extra rounds in this one.
Feels like it's putting up his Tim for sure. Here we go. They step in and Bride's got his number. Naquo can do nothing. Azok with it all to do on just a shield. Almost got a second there, and that could have changed the outcome of things a little bit. But granted, he's got 3 players all squaring up around and daring him to come out of his cave. It's only going one way. Tim, you can say the line.
We're going to overtime, Des.
I thought you keep on talking there, so I took a sip of drink at the same time.
How about that? Falcons. It's not been an easy game for them. I think they would say that themselves, but they wouldn't be the first team to say that against Gen.G this season. You know, look, G2 was saying it just last week. You know, it's not been the easiest game that they're going to have throughout stage 2, but they've dug deep. They've fought their way back into it. They get themselves an opportunity in overtime. It's been 4-2 halves both times in favour of the defenders, so we will see who starts where, as there may be a slight advantage in doing so, but we know that sometimes kind of goes out of the window when we get on to overtime anyway. It's Gen.G with the advantage. A win for them in overtime would still be enough to push them to the top of the table, but it would not secure their position for the rest of the night, because of course G2 are yet to play, and with a full 3 points could go on to 16, whereas Gen.G would only be on 15. So G2 are just kind of sitting back thinking, you know what, this is absolutely fine. Falcons and Gen.G have both dropped points by sharing them between each other, and it gives them an opportunity to get back to the top.
5 seconds remaining.
That's it. The dream case for G2, as you sort of speak about there, is for Gen.G to win this one. Both end up on 15. G2 jump into the lead. That is where they want to be. I doubt they catch up to Falcons if Falcons do win this and go to 16. Like, it's too big a gap at that point regardless. Won't be able to quite catch them on round difference alone, but it does make for a very, very interesting next couple of days where we've got 3 teams here already fighting over our top 2 spots. One of them will miss out on that free buy. One will have to play in those first round games in the playoffs, and you just never quite know what you're walking into in playoffs. A lot of teams, of course, play these decider maps during the main stage. You ban 4 maps each, you play the decider. Everyone gets kind of a neutral map. Once you're getting towards playoffs and we're in best 3s, well, things get very interesting then, because you start, of course, getting to see teams' favourite maps being pulled out, or things that they haven't already shown throughout the stage itself. So that's when you can see big teams getting upset and surprised sometimes if they're not careful. Look at Elevate, for example, over in APL. It's been a bit of a miserable affair for them. Teams can get caught off guard, so you want to avoid being in those 3rd to 6th place points if you can. Instead, get in the top 2 and avoid the madness that is round 1.
Out comes the Shoemaker canisters. Just going to stop that access being available to East Stairs for the time being. A lot of work actually being done from below by the attackers here. And G just looking to fall back gracefully here. The Tachanka of Skies is going to manage to make his way back in towards office, but has been beaten back by the Falcons' approach. Their aggression has worked wonders to grab some ground for them. They're going to open up the wall into break room as well, which should just buy them a little bit more space. I would expect in the next 30 seconds or so, the Falcons should be in control of the map other than the site up on the top floor. Shaiko picks up Neko, big pickup as well.
Yeah, great one to find. Goes for a second, but no, Ace is a little bit better there. Leaking back. Losing out in the 1v1. This has happened so many times that both teams end up in this 4v4 scrap for the rest of the round. It's either been that or it's been those 5 versus 3s, and of course we've seen how those have played out several times now. The team with the 5 not quite coming out on top. It feels a bit cursed, dare I say. Skies doming Eustace as he walks around the corner. Not even a chance to respond on that one. Azog's elsewhere to fall. That's a down low. Shiko hits the deck. It is absolute calamity here so far, Tim. But it's down to just one man being left standing. It's Brede in for 1. The infamous old school Clutch King can't quite pull it off here. Gen.G take round 13 and move up to match point.
Brede, unfortunate there, just kind of takes a glance to his left, but it is all the opportunity needed for the defenders to find his head and take him down, even behind that Blackbeard shield. So Falcons once again find themselves on the back foot. Gen.G opportunity to once again go to the top of the table. If they win this next round, they pick up the 2 points, and that is exactly what will happen, but they're going to have to do it on the attack. They were only able to win 2 attacks, round 8, round 10. Ventilation Workshop and Armory and Archives are the 2 sites that they've been able to win. The lineups, one was with a shield, one was without a shield, so kind of varying as to the methods by which they've been able to win those rounds. So let's have a look and see what they bring along in terms of the lineup. Do they go with the shield? They do. It's going to be Azox. That makes a lot of sense. It was round 10 when they attacked Armory and Archives last. They won it, and it was with the Blitz on side. It was with the exact same lineup as they are bringing now.
It is, but does it still work out the same way? Heaven knows when you're an OT team. We've seen very defender-sided maps suddenly flip to being massively attacker-sided. In OT, we had that Skyscraper a few times this stage, both in Europe and in Asia. So who knows how this one ends out
Attackers
here
must
on
locate and
border.
defuse a bomb.
See how it fares up on this top floor. Falcons, no doubt going to be aggressive again. It has been their forte throughout much of their defensive half. Being willing to challenge. Breedelf playing below with his T4. And being a bit of a nuisance to the side of Gen.G. But now he's up on the upstairs. Everyone is, in fact. Maybe he'll drop down later on through a hatch, try and cause a bit of bother at that stage, but we just go for a classic straight shootout here on the top floor.
Straight away, we're going to have the castle barricade being opened up. Not too difficult to deal with, given that they've got the Habana brought along. And it will then be an immediate relocation. It's just going to be a little bit of phantom pressure onto that archives door. Given that they've gone for a plan there previously, I agree, absolutely. Get it open. It's 2x Kairos pellets. No real danger. It's just going to give Falcons something else to think about. Shaiko is in his usual position inside a break room. Just looking to try and prevent this balcony-sided push, try and prevent Gen.G being able to take control of CCTV. Deadshot needs to get out of there. A couple of ticks of damage from that Toxic Babe canister will possibly add up as the round goes on.
Here we go. Deathmark coming out. Leakback going low from that fire at first, but it's 2 kills going the way of Falcons, Tim. They hold to the aggression coming out of the side of Gen.G. Now, I did say 5v3 is a very, very dangerous scoreline to be in, Tim. Do I think Falcons are going to find themselves bleeding out in this round? No, I don't, because we're on the defensive side, and we've seen this be quite a defender-sided border. They should be able to hold on here and just slowly see Gen.G peter out and towards the latter part of the second half of the round.
Yeah, you would expect so. We have seen a couple of 3v5s kind of sold, given away so far through this matchup, so don't write anything off yet. Azox, he does have the tracks available online. I think he's just waiting for a little bit of intel. Knows that the player is in there, in between those 2 walls. The ping comes out. Thinking of opening the hatch. Needs to go a little bit sooner, really. Shaiko manages to take down Asa elsewhere. Nickelback doing some serious damage in return as well. It's not looking good right now for Gen.G.
Nah, this one looks like it's pretty much done. Man, bless Azox trying to be stealthy as well in the Deimos. That's why he didn't use either of those final 2 tracks that he's got. At this point, though, the game is pretty much up. They know where he is. They know what it is he's trying to do. Hoping that someone will peek him, but with 5 players left up on Falcon's side, nothing's going to happen here but see him slowly but surely get taken out, and that leaves only one line for Tim to say when we get towards that point. Really trying to hold his very, very best, but nothing he can do about it. Tim, now you can say the other line.
We're going all the way to 15, Des, and who'd have thought it? It came in and there was a strong favourite in the crowd. The social vote was well in favour of Falcons, but we did sound the alarms of caution to say, look, Gen.G are playing extremely well this stage. Maybe they've got a game in store for them, and they certainly do, but who'd have thought we'd end up all the way to 15, especially with the way it started. Such a strong start. Falcons finding themselves 4-1 down in round 5. But they've shown some grit. They've shown some determination to get themselves back into it, and they've done well. In that last round, it was very, very solid. There was nothing Gen.G could do to pick apart that defense. Previously, they've dealt with CCTV really well. Not this time. They weren't able to get in there. They weren't able to really force Shaiko out. It was users again having those big moments. He hasn't actually had, like, necessarily the best game ever. He's 10-10 at the minute. He's on an even KD, 57% cost. So, you know, kind of middle of the road. But impact, in terms of impact on the game, you cannot write users out of it. He's had some huge moments that have kept Falcons in this game.
Completely agree. I mean, both sides have had those players in different moments. You know, Skies for me was that player on the other side I've waxed lyrical about since the Rios. Some big rounds and big moments, not always the big round defining ones where he gets, for example, a 1v2 to close it out, but in the mid rounds is where you've seen him really shine, picking up a couple of kills here and there. And it's kept them going. My heart will break for Gen.G if they lose this though, Tim, because like I said at the start of the game, they're 0-2 on this map over the last, what, 2 months? But both games they have lost in OT. To lose a third in a row to OT, heartbreak if it happens. But that's the outcome the Falcons are looking for, so they can hold on to that top spot at least for now.
A late prep phase scramble from Neko to get the last of that barbed wire down so he could get himself into position on the Capcan. Just aiming, I think, wasting some time with Falcons, and also if you can challenge them right up at the boundaries of the map, then the Capcan traps might just surprise you with their effectiveness when players don't want to come out of ADS. They don't want to go into drones. They want to be guns up, ready for the fight, because they know that it's going to come. 1 minute into the round, we don't have a kill yet. We do have our first Dockerby call. Not really going to force anybody away, but Solotov does manage to pick up Asa. That's going to be a lot of lost utility, you would think. At least the Nitro, I would guess.
Yeah, you can see in the back pocket, top of your screen, they have lost the Nitro, so yeah. One was in back pocket and taken away, a second player falling. Attackers in 5v3s, though, Tim, have been dangerous throughout the game. Will Falcons be struck by ghosts of the past? Looks like maybe Sky's getting rid of one again. Mr. Consistent stepping up. Got to get him taken out at some point as another Dockerby call rings on through. The last one they've got, it's worth stressing. No ability to hunt down these last couple of players. You really turn towards Brede and use this there to go hunting. Lots of time to work with, and surely Falcons can get this man advantage over the line, right?
Right? You would really think so at this point, but 4 versus 3, Gen.G have shown a capability throughout this game to be able to battle back and keep themselves in, and they almost lose Brede there, but Solotov is on hand to protect his teammate, gets the kill onto Skies, and you feel like that could be the straw that finally does it. The plant goes down, and now Gen.G are against the clock. They managed to get one inside his sight, but Nade comes up the hatch. That's just going to force them to back off for a second. Azox looking to take the drop, as is Naquo. Will do. Does he know there's somebody there ready to challenge? He does now. Doesn't spray through the soft wall and might just regret it. The final kills go to Brede and Solotov as Falcons. They were behind ever since round 1, and they're able to get it over the line for 2 points.